Good Labor Day Monday to you. Please ignore the sounds of the distance. Those are landscapers cutting the grass up on the hill, and they are not allowed to be here. But we're going to push on. There's not a whole lot of change. I'm going to try and speed up these daily updates. Let's look at the radish. You can kind of see it's getting even bigger. We've got more seeds of popping here. That's pretty good. That's starting to look almost like nasturtium growing there, weed, and so on. Not much change really back here, except for some new seeds here. And then let's head to the back. Let me grab something real quick. Well, for one, we've still got the cactus flowers. That's kind of nice. Back here, no real change, but something I just noticed was the back side of the nasturtium leaves. Some of them are pretty well covered with little black insects. So I can only do so much to attract. I can only do so much to attract the good insects. I'm going to try and actually spray some insecticidal soap on that and see what happens. So that's it for here, and then we'll go talk about what I'm going to try and get done today. So here's what I'm thinking. I really don't like the way that is looking, which unfortunately is kind of being washed out a bit. But the end of the upper garden bed, I think that needs to be neatened up a little bit. And I don't like the pipes sticking out, or the one down below sticking out, or the one up above being uncovered. The ultimate goal was to recover it. And so what I did was yesterday I went out and I got some concrete blocks, and I'm going to try and figure out if between the materials that I have there and other materials that I have, plus the concrete blocks, if I can work something out to A, block the end of the garden bed up there, leaving sort of a landing here, but then B, maybe having to dig a little further over. I'm not sure. I got to take some measurements and try and start building steps going up that way using the concrete blocks. They're about 16 inches wide. I don't think I have a full 16 inches cleared here, but I kind of want to be able to support the hill on the side, from the side, and be able to create a wide enough path to be able to walk up, and then ultimately in the future be able to, as we put more terracing up, be able to walk up the hill, because there's really no good way to get up the hill. And if we do more terracing next year, just sort of thinking ahead to that. So I'm going to see what I can figure out, take some measurements, and then we'll come back when I got somewhat of a plan, or I've gotten a little bit of it built. I could keep going, but I just had lunch and I figured I'll show you kind of where I am on this. It looks a little bit different. Actually, that one block's kind of sitting in the way because I pulled it up, but you can kind of see back behind there now. It runs around. I'm gonna have to put caps on top of all of those blocks. They look better, but that block is sitting up there because ultimately the next thing is behind the wooden wall there. I'm thinking I want to put that block in kind of in that orientation to keep the soil from spilling out behind the wall. The only thing is I've got to carve into the hill a little bit more just to actually fit that block in there. But yeah, I'm kind of making progress here. I'm also using up some of the materials I had left over. Put in a little bit more soil. I've put in some of the larger rocks, some of the smaller rocks, the gravel. And in the end, both pipes, the first pipe is already buried. I had to cut that one block. You can see it's kind of cracked in the front, but I'm not too bothered by that crack. It almost looks like it's just two blocks there. And then up above, that pipe's going to get buried. So but just before I bury it, I'm going to end up making a mess while I try and carve into the hill there. So I'm trying to do things sort of in an order that makes sense. That's kind of where I am. I'm going to keep going here. We got a little bit more time before folks show up. Phew, done, at least for now. I think that looks a little bit better. Yeah, okay, some of them are sticking out a little funny and what have you, but overall I think that looks better than it did before. I think I said I was actually going to stand that brick on end, but when I got up there, it turned out it was just much easier to do it that way, sort of sitting normally, and it creates a normal sized sort of step. And I put one of the other caps that I had on top of it. Probably could have done a little bit better job, but it's enough that I can walk through this and get up there. I might have to move a couple of potted plants, but I started moving a couple over in this direction and realized it all kind of balanced out that much better. So I'm a happy camper. This is looking pretty good. We're gonna have to see what else I might get done tomorrow or Tuesday, but just to give you a bit of a perspective on what it's all looking like. I mean, it's not as crowded up there as it was, and I think it looks a little bit better, and I didn't get to putting the sort of decorative end on the wall, but by putting that plant right there, I'm just kind of hiding the fact that the wall is kind of unevenly cut there. But I think it just makes it just softens that edge and makes it all look that much better. So I'm happy. Now I just got to put away a ton of tools and do a little bit more cleanup, because I moved some of the blocks around. My extra blocks that I still have will go back over there where I've been storing them. It's a different set than I had before, but yeah, this is good. Let's see what tomorrow brings. Good Tuesday evening to you. For a minute there I thought I wasn't going to get out today, but I just got wrapped up in a bunch of things. Let's take a quick look, see if anything has changed. I know of one, I can tell you, but just wanted to look at the radishes. Actually, I realized yesterday that these are not all as big as the one on the end, but that one doesn't look to be quite ready yet, so we'll leave it alone. Carrots are looking nice. The one change is yesterday, like I was saying, if you overplant and you have extras, give them away. That's what I did. Gave away a bunch of them. That's why I had the extra. I had 2 tags in each one so that I could actually put the tags in with the ones that I gave away. I just took a pair of scissors and cut out 2 of each and put them all together and gave them away. So we'll see if we get an update from them on any progress. I did not get out and do anything in the upper planter where I'm having so many things that didn't sprout. I see something back there where the yellow dent should be, but that looks more like a weed to me. Maybe, just maybe, but we'll give it a more careful examination tomorrow, I hope. Yeah, everything else looking about the same. Still no squash either, except for the patty pan. So, I mean, I'm happy with this one. I got all 3 sisters. The next 3, I just have twins. Then let's take a quick look in the back. Hope the cat hasn't gotten to it that I didn't notice. We'll give it a quick look. Okay. Yeah, I really need to kind of deal with some of this. 2 tomato plants doing reasonably well. I need to figure out what to do with the nasturtium that's growing there. Cobweb. Yeah, and that appears to be a basil, but yesterday I realized the other one over here is not. Actually, it's looking more and more like a 4 o'clock. So I might end up transplanting that and putting it somewhere. Still have the little sprouts here. I'm not too sure what the deal is with them. But I need to, basically tomorrow I need to go through and clean out weeds and stuff. See, this is suffering right here. It's just wilted badly. And the sprinklers did go off this morning. Nothing for poblano, so that gives you a rough idea of what it's all looking like. The other thing was I sprayed some insecticidal soap because I've got a bit of a bug problem on the underside of the leaves here. But we'll get that all figured out. So that's pretty much it for today. Since I didn't get much done, just wanted to make sure I got out and got the daily update. Other than that, we'll see what tomorrow brings. Good Wednesday morning to you. Well, I think today is the day we finally deal with the plants that just haven't germinated. But before we do that, let's just double check and take a look at the garden, see what has come up. Wow, everything's looking that much better. Get you a shot of the radishes there. Hopefully that's coming through. So you can see, wow, that there's the one back there that's getting really big. I may be pulling that in a couple of days. I'm not sure if I mentioned, but yeah, I did give away. I almost said unload. Wow, look at how big some of these are getting. I may have to get them up on the hill. But I did give away some to family. So hopefully they'll grow them in their garden, and we'll see. Maybe I can get an update from them. Cucumbers, Swiss chard. Chives are looking more like grass now. More cucumber, and let's see, I've got weeds popping in from here and there. So I've got to deal with some of that. I've also got a plant in the backyard I'm going to transplant because it turns out it's not what I thought it was. There is something growing back in the yellow dent back there, but I don't think that is the corn. But I'm just looking for any obvious signs of something germinating where I thought, see, I got a lot of weeds in this one here too. So I've basically got to pull those weeds and get all that straightened out. Let's take a look at the backyard. And now I am myself on camera. This is part of my solution. I've got a camera across the garden here in case the cat shows up, and last night I caught him walking across that way, so this is helping out. We'll get that figured out. I've also got to trim back some of the nasturtium and figure that. You see there's a nasturtium that I should probably transplant into something, probably one of the pots up on the wall there. And then see, it turns out this is basil, but the one over here that I thought was basil, it's producing these nice purple flowers, which are awfully reminiscent of some 4 o'clocks that we have. So I think that's what this turned out to be. Somehow it got in the bed, and I'm going to have to dig that out without killing anything that's already growing there, which will be tricky, but something to do. Maybe put some more poblano seeds in here. So that's kind of the idea. But let's go back to the side yard and let's see if we can't figure out what happened with the corn. Alright, I think I figured out how to kind of set up so you can see what I'm seeing as I see it, and we can discover things together. What we have here is we've got 2-yard long beans and sweet corn growing slowly, but growing. We've got, these are supposed to be squash. I don't know if I put 2 of them in the ground or just the one. This one does not look all that great, but this is a weed. So let's try and get this dug up and out of here so it doesn't keep coming back. At least not the same one. No matter what I do, I'm going to have weeds are just going to keep coming back. Well, let's get some of this out of here. I'm going to dig down to make sure I actually get the roots, the full thing. So now actually what that also does, that's going to loosen up the soil a bit. Oh, there's another weed. It was hard to see. More over here. You get the general idea, but what that also has done is sort of broken the surface of the soil, so water will get down there a little bit better. That's a good thing. But the real question is, what happened here with the corn? And so I'm going to slowly, first we'll get rid of that weed. Ooh, it is kind of tough soil on the top here, so that could have been it. It could have been that it just had trouble actually germinating or penetrating the soil. So this is just a in an exploration to figure out, is there any sign of the original kernel? Still haven't come across it. What's this here? Wait a minute. That's another weed. Yeah, I need to get all the weeds out of the way. You see little bits and pieces of I don't think I've come across the actual kernel yet. Maybe. Nope. Nope. No, I think it said, let's see, the tag actually said 2 inches. So that's when I had done the initial research. It said to put it 1.5 inches to 2 inches down. And I wrote 2 inches on that, so maybe I buried it too deep. Maybe that's why it never germinated. I'm not seeing any sign of the actual kernel. There is something here. Is that a root? That looks like that could have been... That's going to be really hard to show on camera, and then it just fell again. That looks like there was a root of some sort. Now, I don't know if that was from a weed or from the kernel. I don't even really see the kernel. The soil is a little hard to dig. That also occurs to me that that could actually be part of a root from one of these other plants that did germinate. I wonder if I put this too far down. At this point, I'm not seeing evidence of the kernel itself, so I'm guessing it just disintegrated. I mean, we're talking about looking for a single kernel of corn in the midst of all of this. So at this point, I'm just going to dig down far enough that I feel confident that the soil is loose enough without disturbing everything else. I thought it was only a few inches deep here. Oh, there we go. We're hitting something. We're hitting... What am I hitting? Feels like a large rock, which is probably part of the drainage. Alright, well, I'm going to dig back a little further here. That just fell in. I can see a little bit of grass trying to grow there. Get rid of that. So that should probably be sufficient to let this corn start to grow. So let me place this all back. I'll go get another kernel corn and plant it. Meanwhile, I got to get rid of the rest of these weeds. And move on to the remaining 3 beds. If I discover anything interesting, like the actual kernel of corn, or I mean evidence that it sprouted and then died underground, then I will bring that to you. Otherwise, I'm just going to keep cleaning here. Alright. Well, I guess I'm not quite sure what I was expecting to find. Never done that before, trying to sort of carefully excavate and see what I find, see if I recover seeds. In the end, I did not find any. Well, I think I may have found one kernel of corn, but before I realized what it was, I tossed it in with the weeds. So all the weeds are out, at least as far as I can tell. I did find, let's see, here's one squash seed. I think that was from the straight neck. And then this one over here, which was from the acorn squash. So these I can toss now. I just wanted to show you that I did find something, so I was being somewhat careful, but didn't really find much evidence on the corn. So what I did do is, for the dent corn, I went ahead and planted 2 seeds in each, all the way across. And what I'm going to do is pretty much the same thing for everything else that failed. 2 seeds on each. That way I got twice the odds of actually germinating in each one of them, and then they'll be like 3.5 weeks behind everything else that's up there. But that's the plan. I'm going to go ahead and get that done and then put all the pots back where they were and sort of clean that up, and then we'll get down below. Okay, so now both upper and lower beds are taken care of. Everything's been, that failed has been double planted, and I'm going to have to make labels for all of them, but I've set the seeds aside so I know what I did. On the upper, I've got 1 bean. That's what, a runner bean. And it's growing kind of tall, so I put a stake next to it. I don't know if it's going to grab onto the stake or not, but the corn's not growing fast enough for it to climb up the corn. Maybe future branches from down below can grab onto the corn, we'll see. But just wanted to give it something. And then I was looking at the areas behind these stepping stones where I've got the pots now. Those don't have anything in them, and I was thinking, oh, you know, I could plant some carrots or radish in there, something. And then it occurred to me, I've got enough labels to create, so I think I'm going to leave that for tomorrow. Down below I pulled all the weeds, and there's like a spot back here where I could plant a little bit more. So I've got 1 there, 1, 2, 3 behind the pots. So that's 4. Oop, I missed a weed. And I added a little bit more soil over here since I rebuilt that area. I could probably squeeze something in on that end. So that's what, 5 areas that I could plant something. Honestly, behind the lettuce I could plant some more. So what, 6, 7. I could probably just do more of the well, I was going to say more of the, like, the Swiss chard. The spinach is just barely getting started there. I'm hoping that's spinach. But anyway, it's, you know, I probably got about 8 different spots where I could plant something, so I need to do some thinking on that. But I keep looking at these and thinking, wow, they're just the pumpkin and the spaghetti squash are getting pretty big. So I think I need to get them up on the hill. So I think that's the next thing, is figuring out how I'm going to do that. I need to get some soil up on the hill and make a couple of decisions. So I'm going to try and figure that out, and I'll let you know when I do. Or, and stay with me now, I could deal with all the stuff in the bed back here that I said I was going to deal with. I got to get that. I want to get all the stuff that needs to be replanted today. Anything additional I can do tomorrow or the next day or whatever. And yeah, we'll figure that out. So first things first, I need to tame this nasturtium plant again, and maybe harvest some seeds, but then I got to clean out the beds. So let's get some music on and the time lapse. Here we go. Time for a little break in the action. In case you're wondering why I pulled that entire plant, the aphid problem, or whatever it was a lot worse than I thought. They had already drawn ants, and that is potentially endangering other parts of the garden, so it just made sense to pull the whole plant. I managed to get the others sort of trained a little bit over the wall and out of the adjacent beds, so that should help. Yeah, it's just but I've got on the side, I've got some nasturtium plants already, some seeds already planted. They've been in there for about a week, so I've kind of got a week head start. We'll see if they sprout, and then I can transplant them. I've also got one little one somewhere in here that I can transplant, but I think I'm going to leave these beds alone, let whatever's in there die first, and then probably just toss the soil somewhere else and see about replacing the soil. So yeah, it's an unfortunate thing, but garden pests do exist, and you got to figure out what you can do. So, and now back to our regularly scheduled program. Wow, that's a tongue twister, isn't it? Well, after pulling the 4 o'clock, I realized that there's just basically nothing growing in there, and anything that was growing in those last two beds there, those last two boxes, I mean, if I planted new seeds, I'm not going to be behind by more than a couple of weeks. They've been growing for, what, 3 weeks now? So yeah, I'm kind of going right back to the beginning. I'm really not losing that much time. Unfortunately, it means I don't have peppers for an extra 3 weeks. I'm not too sure what to do with the poblano. I think what I'm going to do is poke a few holes and plant a few more seeds. Worst case scenario, I got like 8 of them popping at some point, because I think I put 4 in there, and I think I remember how I poked the holes, so I can poke different holes, and hopefully that makes some sense. So next up, we're going to plant some more seeds, and then I've got that many more labels to create or update. I got the bamboo labels that already have the date on them. I'm hoping that I can do what I did with the plastic ones and use some alcohol to clean them off, and then rewrite the labels with the proper date. So that's where we are, and that's what I'm going to do next. Okay, I think that's probably enough for one day. Let's get this out of my way here. I get almost tripping over my own tripod, but so I have replanted the Nikita, the Marconi. I threw in some more basil to replace what I thought was basil. Gave that just a little splash of starter fertilizer. More poblanos. Didn't really touch any of this, but just cleaned it out because it looks like there's a couple of little sprouts here and there. So the cherry picker doing okay, but I need to put a date on that and a new label. This all, even though it kind of looks weedy, I believe that is basil and actual cherry peppers, cherry tomatoes. With a real basil plant. I picked a leaf, I smelled it, it's basil. My tomatoes are in a little bit better shape. I didn't pull the nasturtium yet. I got to figure out exactly what I'm going to do. I got to leave something for tomorrow, right? So, oh, and when I was looking for a pot to put the 4 o'clock in, I picked a small nursery pot, and I thought, oh, it'll fit, and I forgot. It's kind of a bulbous root system, so it was kind of big. So I thought about the pots I had up on the wall here, and one of them has a nasturtium and a blank label, but that's an older white label. That's probably just a volunteer in there. But yeah, I got that. I've got another box up there. I got another small box there. So I've got some options still. I'll put that back up on the wall and clean up. And I got to do all my labels today. So that's enough for the day. And that's a pretty good day. So we'll wrap it up here and we'll see what tomorrow brings. Good Thursday morning to you. Let's see what's up in the garden, and we're going to wrap the video up pretty quickly because it's already getting long enough. So let's just see, scan for changes. I mean, all of this is getting a little bit bigger. I'm not used to watching lettuce grow. I mean, I've seen large leaf lettuce, but I'm waiting for the heads to develop and see what the iceberg's going to look like. Radishes are, wow, it's just, this thing keeps getting bigger. At some point I'm going to choose to go ahead and pull it. Carrots are getting bigger. I should probably plant some more of those. That's probably what I should be putting into those little spots I was talking about, because they say if you plant them like every few weeks, I guess then you continue to have a harvest. Just a continual harvest throughout the year. That's a really nice kind of idea. Rotating, or whatever you call it. These are really getting big. I got to get them up on the hill, but the sprinklers did go off. I kind of have a game plan. I'm going to go up to the top there. Well, basically I'm going to have to kind of build myself a little bit of a stairway so I can get the soil from over there, and ultimately just kind of fling it up to the top there where we've got a little bit of a walkway beneath the bush, and then try to, oh wow, I got some more weeds over there. But basically fling it up onto the walkway and then kind of push it over the edge carefully and widen that path, which will also put some dirt up near the top so I can get some ice plant growing there. But ultimately do that and then throw in some of the items from the 6-packs here. Now the air conditioner shut off. I did finish yesterday getting the tags together, so everything that's been replanted now has a tag. At least I believe everything does. I stuck a stake in the ground. I'm not sure if I mentioned. Wow, it's already wrapping around that stake. I need a taller stake. I'm happy, happy, happy. I'm gonna have to figure out a taller stake. I think I have some. We'll figure that out. And yeah, my let's see, my cucumbers, my other cucumbers, everything growing nicely. So the other sort of development is in the back. Remember the cat that I said kept getting into the garden, and then I said a potential solution was on the way, or at least, yeah, I got myself a camera, that funny pill looking thing, and it's out over the garden and actually probably recording right at this moment as I'm standing here, because it's a unique, it's not like so many of the security cameras where they use the software to try to determine motion. This one actually has that second black window on the bottom there is actually passive infrared, and what that does is it detects body heat, or heat in general, and so it'll detect that there's motion when heat starts moving through the picture. And it triggers and turns on the camera. So basically it's battery operated and it lasts a good long time because it's not recording 24/7. It's only recording when it triggers. And I'll show you now, I got a cat that basically came up along next to all these cacti. Then I think he jumped down and then back up. Anyway, got him. I have a picture of the cat now, and I don't know that there's a whole lot I can do with that, but yeah, so I got something to start with. He didn't go too far into the bed. Maybe he smelled the lemons that I refreshed yesterday, so that's a good thing. And with that, I think I'll actually turn around and give you a view of the garden. I need to wrap up here because this video is getting long enough, so we'll continue on in the next video with whatever else I get done today. But for now, thank you for watching. Take care of yourself. Take care of the ones you love. Take care of a neighbor. And may your thumb be green.